Hello, and you're welcome to Global Business Insights, where we look at headlines from a deeper business perspective. China today reported August CPI Consumer Price Index up 0.6% year on year, less than forecast of 0.7%. China's CPI remains subdued amid tepid domestic demand since the pandemic. Japan's gross domestic product expanded by an annualized 2.9% in the second quarter from the previous 3 months, less than forecast for a 3.2% growth and the 3.1% rise we saw in the preliminary estimate. The drop largely due to downward revisions in corporate and personal spending. Today, analysts will see if Apple continues to delay artificial intelligence features, which may mean the iPhone 16 won't see that so-called super cycle of orders. There is some excitement about the launch event taking place later today, but some smartphone demand softness all over the world is also an issue as consumers are holding tight to their cash. Will delays on artificial intelligence features have a huge impact on the reception of the event in terms of how it impacts sentiment? We'll have to wait and see. It's not just oil markets that are bearish. Iron ore hit a 22-month low, sinking below the $90 a ton threshold as a slump in demand in China drives losses. Crude is attempting a rebound, though. Traders will get more insights from OPEC, the Energy Information Administration, and the International Energy Agency, publishing monthly outlooks later this week. Brent was up 0.73% in early morning trade as a potential hurricane approached the U.S. Gulf Coast. On Wednesday, we get more U.S. CPI expected to increase by 2.6% in August. Also, that will be the last major release before the Federal Reserve's September meeting. Meanwhile, on the U.S. economy, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says recent months of cooler jobs data is a signal of a soft landing and not a recession. Still in the US, the presidential election campaign is set to heat up when Democrat nominee Kamala Harris and Republican Donald Trump finally go head to head in a televised debate tomorrow. On Thursday, we expect the European Central Bank to cut its key short-term interest rate by 0.25 percentage point to 3.5%. The ECB started its rate-cutting cycle in June, well before the FOMC, as the Eurozone economy struggled. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, yesterday clarified that the Dangote refinery and any other domestic refinery are free to sell petroleum products directly to any marketer on a willing seller, willing buyer basis, which is the current practice in a fully deregulated environment. NNPCL added that it had no intention to become the distributor for any entity in a free market environment, adding that the notion of becoming a sole off-taker for Dangote refinery did not arise. We spoke to analysts on the issues in terms of how to clear the lingering fog and a way forward. In this episode, we also take the second part of our earlier chat with Neil Yusuf, Chairman, Nigerian Economic Summit Group and Managing Partner, Verraki Partners, and that chat was on getting companies ready for their artificial intelligence journey in this environment. While new Apple intelligence tools will feature prominently in today's launch event for the iPhone 16, analysts say we may still have to wait longer for the best features. Also, we may have to wait for the rollout of iOS 18.1 software updates later in October. We already know from the beta version of iOS 18 that it has new tools to improve writing, a way to remove people or objects from images, plus automated transcriptions of phone calls and other enhancements. iOS 18 and new Apple Intelligence features will work only from iPhone 15 devices upwards, and this is expected to lead many to upgrade, while others will wait till maybe late 2025 for the iPhone 17 that is going to be expected. The most significant announcement today at the Apple launch event is the new iPhone 16 line, plus updates to both the Apple Watch and AirPods. Apple Intelligence, that's a new suite of AI tools that includes an updated Siri digital assistant, is also expected to feature prominently with the theme It's Glow Time, pointing to Siri's new interfaces. With petrol scarcity and high prices driving citizen frustration in Nigeria, the latest press release from NNPC has raised fresh concerns, as Dangote refineries reiterate that they are ready for deliveries, but at what price? Dangote says NNPC will name the price, but NNPCL in their own release say price is going to be determined by markets. There are many issues to unpack as we seek a path forward. The major focus, however, should be how to grow production. We are currently doing 1.4 million barrels per day, about 100,000 barrels already pledged under the advanced crude purchase agreement with Afrexim. About 50% or so belongs to government. Noting NNPC has its own refineries for which it is looking for operators, there may not be enough crude for Dangote refinery and other modular refineries on a sustainable basis. Even if we domesticate all Nigerian equity crude, Dangote will still have to import the rest or buy from the international oil companies. However, since it's the only functional sizable refinery, the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission must be actively involved to ensure no price gouging. The market should be free for other off-takers to take products and for Dangote to export if they so wish, on willing buyer and willing seller basis. There are also unconfirmed reports of the supply of crude by NNPCL in Naira supposedly yet to be paid denies NNPCL the liquidity to settle debts with PMS suppliers, even as NNPC says being a sole off-taker of PMS from Dangote is out of the question. That's because it weakens their bargaining power and ability to get lower prices for Nigerians at the pump. Global gasoline futures are fast crashing. There is overcapacity in the market. Brent crude is flirting with $70. So how much should Nigerians pay for PMS? Noting freight, transport, and very high financing costs also have to be added. There is too much fog that needs to be cleared. Some analysts say an independent comprehensive audit by trusted consultants supported by seasoned experts needs to be urgently conducted. The audit will clarify many things such as readiness and technical verifications on the refinery, agreements made with NNPC and other key stakeholders, the current position, including the economics, product pricing, and issues surrounding the refinery, and then look at options and scenarios to get an optimum way forward with government support to get the best outcome for Nigerians, including whether it is best for NNPC to sell its own refineries. And then, of course, we need to understand NNPC's retail position with Oando downstream assets and how that impacts its obligations to Dangote refineries. US gasoline futures in September crashed to its lowest price level since February 2021 towards $1.9 per gallon. That's about 679 naira per liter. Of course, that doesn't include freight and other logistics and financing costs, amid a broader slump in the oil market driven by reduced fuel demand. The study needs to ascertain as well transparent mechanisms on how to ensure Nigerians pay a fair market-driven price. Still, Mr. Aliko Dangote has invested in a bold entrepreneurial and strategic venture, and all agree he deserves extensive support to succeed. A fortnight ago, we looked at how companies can begin to navigate the AI journey in Africa, and we had Ni Yusuf, Chairman, Nigerian Economic Summit Group, and Managing Partner, Verraki Partners, clarifying how to get it right. This is the second part of the chart.
Artificial intelligence has the capability to transform and radically change the way we live and the way we work. And indeed, it is affecting businesses globally. There are studies suggesting that artificial intelligence can add an extra $4.4 trillion into the global economy. Think about that. And in Africa, that's potentially about $7 to $8 billion every year into the African GDP, and in Nigeria about $160 million as early as next year into the Nigeria GDP. So it's something businesses should be concerned about. How can we take advantage of the benefits that comes with artificial intelligence? And today there are more than 64 startups in Nigeria that are using AI or that are providing services driven by AI. 64, and they are being used in different sectors, be it in education, be it in health. I mean, most of us will use Microsoft Copilot or Google Search that now has artificial intelligence embedded in it. And so really the question at the top of most businesses, most leaders, given the study that Verraki has just published, is how should we then go about preparing our companies for Gen AI? And I think it's down to starting small, having that pilot, and based on the pilot, you can understand the risk area, you can understand what you need to adjust and how you need to balance. And so don't go full scale, always do it in incremental steps. And then another question will be, how can you then ensure that you prepare your leadership and you prepare your board to drive this journey? I think a lot of training, a lot of communication, and also reverse mentoring. So let the young ones, link your directors and board members with some young technology guys, so that there can be some form of reverse mentoring. The digital natives are more automatic this, and they can then train the and train the board members. But it's important that the board members and management and leadership are all, they have the right skills, they understand AI, such that they can ask the relevant questions, but also so that they can support with the relevant investment. And so education, training, reverse mentoring, it's important. And another thing is involve your supply chain, involve your partners, involve your customers. Businesses today operate in an ecosystem, so you cannot be AI ready and your partners are, your suppliers are not. And so involve them in, could be some pilot programs, it could be some joint venture, it could be some collaboration, but get them involved in this journey so that you are all operating on the same page, and then you're all working together. You got to manage the risk. There are reputational risks, there are operational risks, there are data privacy risks, there are intellectual property rights risks. You need to have, as you have the chief AI officer, you must have the chief risk officer who can help to manage and mitigate some of this risk. And regulatory risk is important, compliance risk is important. Must have a single source of accountability, single source of the truth, and then you must also be able to monitor the benefits so that you are not, you don't run into a cost risk. And I think the last thing really is, how will AI impact the region? My sense is dramatically. We're already seeing it in a number of cases. We are seeing it with youth, and we expect it will happen soon also and become mainstream. And so every business must prepare for the AI eventuality, because it's really the same way computer is now and internet is every day. We think AI will also become every day, and every business must prepare for that.
Asian markets slid after worries about a possible US economic downturn weighed on sentiment, dragging bond yields and commodity prices lower as investors avoided risk assets for safer harbors. A stronger yen also added pressure on exporters. Also, Japan's household spending for July barely rose 0.1% in real terms from the previous year, compared to a 1.2% rise expected. Well, that's it from me on Global Business Insights. This is Bode Oshosami. Thanks for sharing and following or subscribing on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube and X. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.